Some of my videos you should watch more than once, and this is definitely one of them. When we think about the history of religion, certainly it started with communication with hand gestures, from martial artists to other people. They say the snake, you cut off its head. They show them the animal. This animal, cut off the head. This animal, snake, right? They do some kind of a gesture. Okay. This became writing at some point in Sumer or somewhere else, organized systems of writings. They no longer were referring to ideas with symbols, but they had symbols in writing to redefine things in terms of psychology, trickery, and illusion. We look at the Western decision-making process. It came from people who were feeling led in bars, in pubs, where they would say, that feels good to me, and I don't want my child to feel the same way I do about being insufficient and so on. And this is part of why they continue down the despicable path that the West has continued down. We look at my argument about the A. Because of their breeding, they can never be leadership material. They did not stand with me, and I despise the bloodlines of people that did not stand with me. Their kids are cursed to never be qualified to be leaders because they did not stand with me and submit to the divine judgment of God. They believe in building with good and evil. Think about the churches where they have the basement is a satanic basement, or the outfits they wear, black, and so on. Think about the former pimp. When we look at him and he has quote unquote repented, we still see that this guy used to be a pimp. And why was it? Was he targeted to the degree that I was? Sabotaged because of who my father is? Or is he just another person targeted pretty much to the same degree as everyone else? Certainly, we will always see him as somebody who built who he is with evil, and he is never going to be as respectable as somebody who was targeted to the extreme, such as myself, who performed more masterfully in a more of a moral manner, during the same periods of time or comparable periods. We look at attractive women. Me wanting to make love to them is like God banging on their door. Choose him. When nature causes a man to really feel like he wants to plant his seed, he is probably going to be more successful in it. And people who have experimented with masturbation and things of this nature certainly can understand why that is. I'll leave that there. It had to be touched on. So when we see wicked men trying to maneuver to get in between their legs, certainly we see that reproduction is the fault of women choosing bad men. And sometimes they have the nerve to complain that their husband is raping them or beating them. You pick that man, you're staying with him, and your kids are not a good enough reason either. Okay, you have the option to leave with your kids, your life is going to be hard. For the same reason they don't leave the evil relationship with their husbands, with their kids at times, is pretty much the same or similar reason that they continue to let the New World Order coerce them, on behalf because of their kids, right? You're going to risk them, but you're supposed to risk them. And they're supposed to learn from that example, that you risk them to do the right thing, which is the same thing as standing in the divine order. Yes, things could happen to your children, but at least now they have a chance to go to the kingdom of God instead of just completely conform and be evil and die, which is pretty much the fate of everyone's children at this point. Okay, so we see the deep betrayal, giving the followers of the principles of evil their all. Right? Women give the followers of the principles of evil their all. They give their best years of their life. They break down their body after pregnancy, stretch marks. They become overweight, etc. They give their time, their sex, their affection, their nurturing, etc. Okay, their hard work. They give the followers of the principles of evil their all. There's no excuse for that. And it doesn't matter if they're more decent than others. Some demons, even in Christianity are less evil than others. Does that mean you should give them your all and say that, you're hoping you're hoping to be right with God? That's pretty much what people are doing. People these days are the equivalent of demons. They have defied God for their own reasons, and women are giving them their all. The unattractive women are not cultivating for God, mind, body, and soul unless they're disabled or something, and then it goes back to the sins of their fathers. And I'm not saying that it is hopeless, but if you are outside the divine order, most certainly it is. If the attractive women are in shape, you have to ask yourself, why were you able to get someone like her? If you are the husband of this woman or the boyfriend, why were you able to get her and I wasn't? You must concede that I'm a better man than you are. So how come you're able to get this woman? Because obviously you're in the spirit, you're in the energy of Lucifer, this worldly nature, the triangle pointing down, and she is receptive to that. And that is why she is not a suitable helper for a man of God. And that is why she has failed. Okay, among other things. But perhaps the most significant reason women have to, the most important thing for them to do is to make love to men of God. If they fail to do that, they have failed in life. Nothing else really matters. They're done. So we look at God, nature, man, expression. God through nature, one way or another, the supernatural through the natural, expresses to man through the divine order. In martial arts, the martial arts divine order, the truths that he subconsciously and in different levels of consciousness he comes into. To connect to God requires different levels of consciousness. That idea, that aspect of meditation is correct. You have to achieve that level of consciousness. How they do it is incorrect. They're coming into one with the Tao, with the worldly Luciferian energy. Okay, that's where they're wrong, and they're dead wrong. They're better off not meditating than going out of their way to connect with the world's energy and not the true spirit of God through the divine order. So when we look at the mark of the beast, right? Mark backwards can be seen as crime. Does the idea fit? Absolutely. The crime, the works, right? The brand, right? To be branded. What brand? What brand is that sweater? What brand is that drink, right? It is that evil brand. The mark is the idea of the works, the triangle pointing down, right? 60, 60, 60, no concept of 0, 666 in Egypt, that is. Building toward the earth instead of building toward the sky in the leopard spirit. And I'm not saying the people who built the pyramids were completely right with God. I have no time to go over that. The evidence strongly suggests that to a large degree they weren't. Okay, so we look at what sparks the interest of a woman, right? Is it someone building down toward the worldly energy? Absolutely. Okay, they're basically prostitutes. We'll get into that in a moment. Sparking the energy, sparking the interest with the sun spirit of God versus with the evil fire of Prometheus stolen from the gods, right? Covering the light to say, I have the light. The bonfire, this torch that the Statue of Liberty has, for instance, this is the light. No, it is the true sun spirit of God through the sun spirit masculine martial arts order of Pharaoh, which I am the last one of. So a good woman that submits, okay? You have to understand, the implications of this, right? When it comes to the idea of the good woman that submits. When you look for the sunrise, do you turn your back to it and say, I'm enjoying the sunrise? No. You look toward where the source of the sun is coming from and look for the sun. You must look toward the Pharaoh for the message of God. The source of the message is not coming from anywhere else. It is coming from Pharaoh. Okay, it's God through Pharaoh. So the woman then must submit to that idea. The more righteous, the better. The ideal man is Pharaoh. And people in his divine order are the only suitable mates for a good woman. Not he is too righteous for me and, it's going to bring me down. That is his call and not hers. Okay. So we got to think about the implications of them not looking to the ideal man. It automatically shows you that the bloodline, their descendants I must despise. The spirit of righteousness, the warrior, the warrior in the spirit of righteousness is truly living his life. And only the wife of a warrior who's truly in the divine order and the spirit of righteousness is truly living hers. Everything else is a bootlicker's pittance of a bunch of madmen babbling on nonsense. Babble, 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 babble. And they have nice shiny things. Women go, oh, that's shiny. Before you know it, they're babble, babble, babble right along with them. Right? Babbling idiots, babbling on. They can invent something. So what? We figured this out. So what? You're a babbling idiot. You don't know the point of life. It's like you made a sandcastle with feces. I'm supposed to be in awe of it? You're an idiot. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. That is the appropriate response to those esoteric eBirds. Okay, we look at the Pharaoh, the top, pure masculine Sun Temple martial artist calling you to war. Women must present themselves definitively. And therefore, when they don't, the bloodlines of all other men must be despised, and the bloodlines of all other women must be despised. They did not submit. Therefore, no warriors in the future can truly be in the spirit of righteousness, because the spirit of righteousness is conveyed from generation to generation, from Pharaoh to Pharaoh, whether he is acknowledged as such or not. Okay? Therefore, the bloodlines he despises and he counts out are counted out. Man does not have the option to, quote unquote, go over my head. They are in a position of ill-gotten gains, having stolen everything of significance from me. They can't then appeal to God and say, well, he was wrong. They're done. This is the order of things. I am consistent with God's judgment when I make that judgment. That is my call. That is one call they can never take from me. Islam emphasizes that there is a time to fight before Armageddon, before the last battle, thus giving them the advantage over Christians. They think more effectively. They think, what should I do in this situation, considering the most logical option, which is war against evil. Whereas the Christian sits there, twiddling his thumbs, saying, I'm going to wait for pie in the sky, and Jesus is going to magically cause us to fall in line. Utter nonsense, utter garbage. When you look at what people get out of the Bible, we're better off throwing it in the fire. If you're going to get a satanic message from the book, and that's all people ever get, and you refuse to follow the divine order, it's better off thrown in the fire. All of man's philosophies and religions, other than mine, are better off in the fire. We don't see the meek people inheriting the earth, but evil people with a militant determination inheriting the earth. Evil people. The militant determination gives them the upper hand. When we look at a prostitute, where do heels come from? Prostitutes in Rome used to wear heels so that their Johns could identify them in the crowd. This idea did not leave humanity. It is still there. Women look sexy in heels. It's appealing to that part of your nature. Okay? A woman can have an attractive figure and be very clean and appeal to you, your desire to make love. Or she can dress like a slut who is a professional and wear heels and appeal to your desire to have sex. That is what the professional, quote-unquote, woman does. Like the psychologist, for instance, the secretary, the successful businesswoman who's dressed sexy. She's appealing to your lust and not your desire to make love. No woman in that image can truly make love. All right, scientists, scientists organize evil people that have been dumbed down, substance-abusing scum, to wage war against the spirit of righteousness in man from their respective positions in society. This is not a marshaling. This is not ordering things in the spirit of God. This is an organized chaos, organized madness, and to keep people down and to wage war against the spirit of God. So we see that even fat idiots, who have unimportant jobs perhaps, are oppressing the righteous and waging war on them because they have been organized to play their position effectively. And this is also an example of evil people with a militant determination inheriting the earth and not the meek. So we look at we look at receptors in the brain, okay? And we look at how the martial artist goes, hi-yah! Hi-yah! Right? I can't even do it anymore without hurting my body because of what they're doing, okay? We see that this increases the effectiveness of the brain. I still build on the ideas of old, and I remember my ideas of old, but I can't really build in the right direction with these chemicals in my system. So, it goes back to light context, right? Can take a life, right? Can a ka. By avoiding my challenge and truth, it is con take. They're trying to take everything from the con perspective, and con a ka. So the receptivity of me determines whether a woman has been doing the right thing that they are supposed to. Suppose, supper, super are all connected, right? Diet, exercise.